We're recording now. Hey
Oh
guys.
boy.
Woo!
Mm.
We are playing 7C today, and we've done some character generation. We're still doing some character generation. We're figuring out how things are going to work in the 7C game. And I am running from the hip. I don't have much planned out. So I have a notebook that I'm going to keep notes in. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. This is going to be maybe the most awesome thing ever or a train wreck. I have no idea. And it's the new second edition 7C, which is like a storytelling game. It's very different. It's kind of a combat like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's more storytelling. The dice rolling is odd, and we'll figure it out as we go. So Crystal is coming up with a part of her character history called a story. And a story is how you gain experience. So you come up with the story of what you want to accomplish and what your end goal is. And Crystal has decided that her character's family were a bunch of explorers who were doing an archaeological, like, tomb raiding. And they had an associate that murdered them and took off with their artifact. And now she is alone looking for revenge. And we've decided the murderer is Malcolm Tilwith Tegg. Do you know how many steps you want for your adventure?
I just think I need to make it a reasonably good story, not a certain number of steps.
All you need...
But I think about...
See, I started with a simple story. You might do that. It has I took a small goal so that I could build onto that later with a new story after I accomplished the first one.
Well, let me ask you this. What is it that you want your character to have next? Do you want her to have a better skill in something, a better attribute, a new advantage? What is it that you're looking for?
Most of all, I'd kind of like to improve a trait, but that's, 5 steps?
Trait requires 4 steps to shift a single trait from one rank to another. Requires 5 steps to increase it 1 rank. So to increase your trait, you'll need a 5-step story, which means this guy that I'm sure you want the end goal to be him dead at your feet, or maybe imprisoned forever for his crimes.
Oh no, I want to kill him.
Okay, so you got your goal. You got your goal. He lies dead at your feet. It is a 5-step story.
5.
And your first step is, and you detail what your first step is.
I need to track him to at least whatever city he's going to.
Do you know what he stole? Do you know what the artifact is he stole, or are you unaware of it?
I'm not really very familiar with this world, so...
So, there is an ancient race that once lived in Thea called the Serenth. And they have ruins everywhere, all across the land. And in it, they have these artifacts. And there are these weird technological, like techno-magical doohickeys. Kind of like ancient Greek machines, if you kind of think about that. And they can do pretty much anything. Some of the most common examples is like a puzzle sword. Stuff like that.
Puzzle sword?
A puzzle sword.
Something that measures distance, kind of like those, have you ever seen those wheeled things where people roll it along the ground to see how far they've gone?
Yes.
Except, like, an ancient version of that. Like the Romans used to mark miles on their roads.
So is it like a Serenth artifact? A magical one that can, like, simply you keep it in your pocket and it measures exactly how far you have traveled?
And that sounds good.
Let's say it has powers that you don't even know about.
Yeah, that sounds completely reasonable.
Clay, your story is about a man... tell me your story. Go ahead.
Well, my brother's been incarcerated, and for a crime he didn't commit, a murder, and he's up for execution if I can't prove him wrong. And I, being a barrister, must track down whoever made him the fall guy, as it were. And the only lead I have right now is tracking down his old business partner who skipped town shortly before this whole thing blew up.
What is your brother's name?
Ryan Lynch and Brian Lynch.
Ryan
Clear.
Lynch. Ryan and Brian, the Lynch brothers.
He's been in prison for no good reason. I don't understand.
All right, Howard. So, what is your story? What is your character and your story here, so I can write it down in my handy dandy notebook?
The obligation thing that he is the story I've gone with. I'm going to be playing Luke. He's a Montaigne, and he was born a bastard of the Courvoisier. I'm not good with French names. Line. A result of his noble father's philandering, when he demonstrated a talent for porte, he was trained at a very young age. That's the portal magic. But when his older brother died, his dad didn't want a bastard to inherit anything, so he had the kid sent to prison. After a few years in prison, fellow inmate Declan Young and Luke attempted to escape together, but they got caught just outside the prison walls. Declan died, holding off the guards so that Luke could still get away. So my story is that I have an obligation. Declan's last words to Luke were, "Go and find my daughter for me." So Luke is going to honor Declan and find his daughter, pass her the message that her father loved her, and make sure she's okay. She grew up while he was in prison, so she hadn't seen her father since she was a child. And my first step on that road is going to be to find the girl by heading towards Avalon, where she was last known to be living with her mother when she was a kid.
All right, let's begin the game.